Hello, everybody. Grand Rising is 25, and we attempted to go on today at 11, but Matt and I had to really work on our skills, staying in the moment as we experienced some technical difficulties this morning. But thank you for joining us. We are the People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers. I'm Sandy, and of course, Matt Thomson is over there in our Hingham location, which is a beautiful spot to go receive some sound healing and breath work. I also am joined today by a very special guest, and I'm really grateful to have him here. And I have him facing this way because his tattoo is an epic portrayal of the OC crisis, or the Oxycontin crisis, that occurred in his hometown. His entire back is a tribute to all of those who lost their lives, all of the families who lost their loved ones. Drop a comment if you know who this human is. He's kind of famous. Matt, I'm so excited to have you here today, but to have a special guest. And there's also this fly buzzing around, which is driving me crazy.
Yeah.
So we've had a few chats. Bug will not get me down. But thank you, Matt. I've been feeling a lot of gratitude lately for this community, and showing up for each other despite technical issues or wherever we might be in the world. Like, showing up for each other is just super important right now in this day and age. So just the only announcement that I really have is that we do have Soul Saturday coming back on September 7th with DJ Real Drama. We're going to be getting the calendar together this week. Sarah's going to be coming up. And so hopefully, Matt, you and I can actually jump on a call and kind of go through some dates, and we can start getting our Friday night and Wednesday night groups back together.
I
I
was
don't like to
looking
think
at
of some.
the Wednesday night starting for like September 11th.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. And that will be a Wednesday evening, 6:30. Bring your kids, let your kids, play with the singing bowls and learn about breath work, right? Because again, part of the reason why I wanted to have this beautiful human here today, and, thinking about, things that we often reach for outside of ourselves to, numb our pain or feel complete or feel connected. A lot of these kids back in the day, if people had taught them a little bit about breath work and about meditation and other things, and realizing that they could expand their consciousness and could tap into something beyond them without reaching outside of themselves. So I think, like, as a harm reduction tool, more kids should be about this at a younger age before they get that urge to reach out for a drug or alcohol or cigarettes or whatever it is. So thank you for offering that for the next generation. Because God knows right now we need this connection and these community events more than ever. So thank you so much, Matt, for your service.
Yeah.
And thank you for your patience. I'm so happy that we were actually able to make the stream happen. So I have this amazing, ginormous bean bag, and I'm hoping that Mike wants to get on it. Oops, I said it. I'm not even supposed to say his name. So do you have anything going on that you would like to chat about?
Me? No, nothing in particular. Yeah, I'm just excited. I want to get that out in the newsletter and maybe make some flyers for the Wednesday nights and get that kind of rolling again. And I guess we should probably figure out the Friday nights and sit down at some point. What were you saying? Sarah's putting something together for that, or?
Well, Sarah's coming up to Maine today, so I think, like, I was going to work on just getting the calendar ready and putting all the dates in. And then, she obviously has a lot going on with the kind of later part of the year. So I wanted to get her scheduled for some of the stuff. And then have you, and, I'll be calling in all the big dogs. Like, I'm probably going to get us on a group chat and then see what's a good time for us to maybe hop on a Zoom, and then we can kind of talk some stuff out, and then we will announce it to everybody what our plan is.
Sounds good. All right. All right. So if you want, I'll just invite you to get comfortable, and we can just kind of dig in for today. And I was just gonna lightly talk about, like, what was coming up for me is kind of like thinking about like our day, right? So I just have like this glass, and then like it's just an empty glass. So it's just like this nice flow of air, and and so and it's kind of light and it's kind of easy to carry around in this way, right? If this were us. And so when we're just kind of like open and nothing's clogging us, our system, then we just kind of can just be in the flow of life. But when we think about things, we have like three different bodies, right? We have a mental body and an emotional body, which really want to be working together. But for most of us, we either are living just out of the mental body or we're just living out of the emotional body. And so, what's the difference? So, like, the mental body is like when a situation occurs, like driving down the road, someone cuts us off, and then I say this all the time, and we get angry, and then we kind of carry that with us for the day. And so, if we do that, what I have is, sorry about that. Like if I was to take a rock and someone cuts us off, and then I allow for that anger to sit with me for a while, it kind of puts like this like weight into our glass or into our day. Okay. And then maybe we're stressed or have anxiety about like a future meeting, and so we're maybe carrying a little bit of that anger from someone upsetting us, and then I'm worried again with something else in the future, and I'm letting that stay with me, so it kind of adds like another rock into this glass. The emotional body is like a feeling that arises within. So maybe I'm just feeling sad about something. So that might add like another rock in here. And then, maybe emotionally, because then the mental mind is just kind of running and it's running that tape recorder like super fast. And the emotional body is like that deep feeling within us. So maybe I feel overly excited about something that's coming up tonight, and I'm carrying that with me through the day, even if it's something that's good. But as I start holding on to all this stuff through the day, and the mind's busy, the body's busy feeling things in the future or things from the past. Mind's focused on things from the future and the past, and all of a sudden I'm carrying all these things with me that are disrupting my flow. And so this is why the breath work can be so beautiful when we learn how to integrate it and bring it into our day maybe a little bit more. So what do we do? So what's the third body type? The third body type is the intuitive body. And so if we can start working, there's some work behind this, but if we can start recognizing the emotions that are arising within us and recognize it and become like an observer of it, becoming an observer of our thoughts as well too. So, and we can use that to help us become more present. So, what do we do with stuff that's not present for what we're doing right now? Like right now, I'm doing this podcast. So, if I was also worried about something I'm doing after this, then it's going to affect this moment right now because my energy is going to be switching from this moment to something that's after this. Or it might be my energy might just be feeling really low because I'm kind of sad about something that happened yesterday. Or I'm just thinking maybe about the past, or I was reminded of something that brings about like an emotional feeling in the body. And so, and this is where I love that balloon breathing, right? Eventually, because we can push the energy away and um, and kind of come back to it when it's an appropriate time to kind of engage with it. But also at the same time, why the somatic coaching and the breath work can be so beautiful is we can also, if it's a reoccurring energy that doesn't sit well with us, then that's why the work is so important, because we can reconfigure that energy into something that's more serving. So to maybe keep your day a little bit lighter, I'm just going to invite you to just sit back, get comfortable for a moment, and adjust your body, allow for movement. And as you're doing this, to start tuning into how you're breathing. And we'll just take a little break here for a moment and just listen to the sounds. And just tapping into your breath and your breathing. Maybe breathing in and out through the nose. And now just inviting in deep breathing into the stomach, as well as exhaling now out through the mouth. And just maybe even placing a hand on your stomach for healthy breathing. And really tuning in. I've been seeing this so much, particularly with people coming in for one-on-ones, with just like even one person in particular yesterday, like who I thought really had the breathing down, has done a lot of breath works with me, and still extremely breathing into the chest, like just creating that hyperventilation all day. And so just really checking like yourself for a moment, placing your hand on the stomach and just breathing into that, and feeling the rise of the balloon in your belly. And then as you're exhaling through the mouth, just allowing for that to deflate and feel a softening within your body. And just an invitation to keep your hand on the stomach, and an invitation to not think about breathing into the stomach, but can you maybe discover how to just feel the breathing being correct, filling up the lungs more, oxygenating the body a little bit deeper. It doesn't serve us very much if we're really breathing into the chest. That mild hyperventilation we may not feel too deeply, but it's still hyperventilation, especially if something arises in our moment. When we're moving around and walking, we can even just check and see, are we breathing in a healthy manner? I'm just staying with this breathing into the stomach, this awareness, this feeling. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. Maybe extending the exhale a little bit longer down to where it's nice and quiet. And just lightly scanning the body, seeing what feels heavy, what feels like one of those rocks. Our eyes, our mouth, neck, shoulders, heart, stomach. Just lightly scan yourself. And if something's feeling heavy or of a disruption, just like breathing into the stomach, we can guide the energy of the breath into that heaviness. And then soften it on that exhale. And when you're done with it, scanning your body, I just invite you to continue breathing and just seeing how you feel now, maybe finding the softness, maybe discovering that you're a little bit lighter. Maybe extending that exhale a little bit longer. Maybe discovering that the possibility of feeling as if you're floating. Maybe extending that exhale out to just become softer and softer till there's no air. And then as we find ourselves maybe in this place of relaxation, like is it possible for you to maybe identify things that do create like a weight in your system as you move through the day? Like Sandy had mentioned, like we're having some technical difficulties, and so did I allow for that to create stress, or did Sandy, or did we just continue working calmly through the situation? And did it really affect the day? No, it didn't. We just kind of kept trying different things, talked to someone on the phone, and then eventually we figured out something that worked, and neither of us became upset or frustrated. We just kind of kept rolling with the different options that we were presenting ourselves or from someone else. And then it just worked. So that was almost kind of like laying on a summer day like it is now on the grass and looking up at the clouds and just seeing all the different beautiful things that float by, the different images. And we're not taking on the images or holding them too long. We just kind of move from one cloud to another cloud. And so that just kind of allowed for the problem to be solved somewhat quickly. because we weren't just holding on to one aspect of the problem. We just kept looking at different solutions in different ways. And so, as in life, like the clouds floating by, like we can really hold on to, like, try to hold on to one cloud as long as we want, and that might turn into that rock that creates that heaviness. So, the cloud representing our different moments, different emotions, and different things that might take over the mental mind. So, are we allowing for them to pass through our system, or are we allowing for them to park and kind of hang out, which might create that heaviness in the day? So, what is it for you that creates heaviness or stuckness within your day, or something that we don't really want hanging out because maybe it's just not the right time? And just like if we just learn to recognize the truth of what creates heaviness or disruption within our day, it can really be like that stepping stone to discovering what might create for a longer day, or a day that doesn't feel as good as it could be. But if we can just recognize the different things that may arise within today or within this week, and how do we handle them? And that's where I talk about taking so many pauses in your day with the breath. How do we respond with these things? Does our voice change? How we talk, like our tonality when we're either with coworkers or family? If all of a sudden we allow for the rock to come settle in, and it creates this heaviness, then is it starting to change, like how we might communicate with our loved ones or coworkers? Is it maybe making me more racy, more in a rush? Like, what do these heavy things do to you as an individual? How does it maybe start changing the course of your day? When we're overthinking things, or we have like the multitasking of like jumping around from one thing to another, when really, and that's taking us out of the moment. Or the body just becomes so, when we think of people, when we think of our friends or family or ourselves, when we're in a place of maybe not wanting to get off the couch or get out of bed. That's like the emotional thing, because emotionally we're just really feeling this thing where we just don't want to do anything. And so we're allowing for that to control our moment. And maybe it's just really staying in that low vibrational frequency of sadness or depression, and why breathing, and not just breathing, but even just getting up and just what we talk about lightly sometimes, just shaking the body out. Because we don't have to, like, I've had a couple clients in the last couple of days, and so one person was sitting down, laying down on the floor, standing up, shaking the body, like they kept moving around, like during like this piece I was doing with them, and it was beautiful. It was just, they were really tuned in and listening to what the body actually needed. This other person who's been with me for a while just got stuck and feels like they're supposed to sit a certain way and do this a certain way when you're meditating. It's kind of like there's no rule that says that how you have to be, and they're always sitting in like this mind-boggling, uncomfortable position, and then they can't get out of it. It's like they're all stiff, and that like I feel like sometimes we just get caught up in like these pictures of Buddha or people sitting in a particular way, or you're in a yoga class doing it this way, and it's like there's no just one way. It's what is your body asking for? What's it need? Can we start listening and hearing within the system of what's needed in the moment? Maybe I do need to stand up and shake it off. Maybe I need to go look at some pictures that bring joy. Maybe I just need to get up off the couch and go sit outside and walk barefoot in the grass, or go sit in the sun. Um, but some of these rocks and some of these stones can really weigh us down. And the more, oddly enough, like, I feel like even the stones might even grow and become heavier and heavier as we let it sit with us more. So whatever it is that you're recognizing that creates this disruption in your flow of the day, what might be common for you, the invitation is just to lightly breathe in now and kind of like just let it go, excuse it. And that's the balloon breathing again. Can we recognize where it is in the body that's creating the heaviness? Maybe it's the full body. Can you imagine a softening through the exhale? A softening and lightness to the body if some heaviness came up while you were thinking about things in your day that may create some heaviness. And what types of tools can we use to maybe create a lighter flow within our system? Well, the breath is obviously one. Maybe putting on a particular song or type of music. Maybe just calling someone that you know is always in a good mood and just hearing their voice for a moment. Maybe, Maybe going down to the ocean, taking a walk on the beach, maybe going out on the kayak. Going for a bike ride, walking, or petting an animal, a pet, a cat, a dog. And so maybe even discover here for a moment, like when you are, if you've just recognized several things that might create some heaviness and that might be hard to get rid of, maybe what can soften it. So I just gave a couple of examples. And maybe just run through stuff that's true for you as an individual. And so I guess where this is leading to today is really maybe beginning to recognize like what's in the mind, what's mental, what's controlling the mind, what things get really busy and racy within our mind that kind of keep us from staying in the moment. And also like the body. So emotionally, like, are we allowing for an emotion to stay with us maybe more than it needs to be to feel into like a certain emotion?